What's going on, everybody? Got another video for you. This one's on Cuba. You see, Trump's plan has been working. First, he started in Venezuela. By the time that we hit Iran, we had already started basically. We were basically on good terms with Venezuela. They just announced that they'll be having diplomatic relations with us again. They just raised the American flag for the first time in like 5 years, 8 years. And what we're seeing is that, well, although Venezuela doesn't have, they have heavy gas or heavy petroleum, oil, whatever, it's still useful, right? We have our plants on the southern border. I've explained this numerous times, are built to process just that fuel. They're making money now. They just opened up a whole new country worth of oil to be processed on the global scale, which will make their country richer, make life better for their citizens in the long run, because a country that is making money can afford to do things that are positive in the country. That just makes sense. That's why we have tariffs. That's why we are doing the things that we're doing in this current administration, unlike the last, where everything was based on screw the little guy. So, I mean, liberals don't believe that, of course. They think that Joe Biden did all these wonderful things for the little guy when it was actually the opposite of that. A lot, especially during COVID, when the big business, big companies that these liberals claim to hate all thrived during COVID, while the little guys were being micromanaged by their local state governments, the federal government. There was people, that ran bars and so on that had to set up little outside things. Even if it was a winter time state like this one, they'd have little tents with propane heaters and people were crammed inside these little tents, because that's way better than being in an open restaurant. Just the nonsense that the left had carried out to help global, these huge global businesses, and then crush the little guy. I mean, that's a known fact. A lot of businesses went under during that time. But here in Cuba, Trump's plan is being seen, and the people are like, you know what? We're going to act on this. And you know why they're going to act on this? Because they've seen Trump's plan, which is there are a handful of really bad countries in the world. They are hurting their citizens. They've been hurting them for many, many years. They are a threat to our country, which that's America first. If a country's a threat to us and we do nothing about it, that's not putting America first. That's putting America last or in the middle, because we are avoiding some major problems for our country. And that's why these grifters and black pillars and so on are complaining about every move Trump makes, because they were never MAGA to begin with. They're not America first. They're just a bunch of infiltrators who have constantly, even during his first term, done nothing but what we see right now. It's just on a more massive scale right now, these influencers doing this, because this is Trump's last term. They have to figure out their new grift. And they're in a tight spot right now, because this war is actually popular with the American people. I call it a war, but it's really just a series of strikes. We have no boots on the ground still. We're sending Marines and some Navy there to carry aquatic operations, which I assume will be for the Strait of Hormuz, who Iran has constantly controlled and manipulated, and that's been an issue for a very long time that even hurts their local, neighboring countries. So having said all that, let's take a look at what Trump had to say many, many years ago, 26 years ago to be exact, and you'll start getting a picture of what we can expect in Cuba.
Thank you very much. I've had a lot of offers, and sadly it's all been very recently, to go into Cuba on deals, business deals, real estate and other deals. And I've rejected them on the basis that I will go when Cuba's free. As you know, and the people in this room know better than anyone, putting money and investing money in Cuba right now doesn't go to the people of Cuba. It goes into the pockets of Fidel Castro.
Okay, so Fidel Castro is a leftist hero. What do we hear from the left? Oh, Donald Trump doesn't want to put money in the pockets of citizens. He wants to put it in the pockets of corporations, despite evidence of that. I mean, we've got no tax on tips, no tax on overtime. We've got the expanded child tax credits that we luckily got back done in the one. I mean, the list goes on of all the tax breaks and incentives that have been given to the little guy, and also along with some benefits for businesses like regulation cuts and so on, which makes sense because, you know, they employ people. But listen to what he said there. The money doesn't go to the people. That's something that Democrats claim they have issue with here. The money doesn't go to the people. Oh, you're the reason why it doesn't go to the people. They say something out of one side of their mouth and then do something with the other. You know what I'm saying? Like they say one thing, do another. And that is constant. And it's not just the Democrats. There's plenty of rhinos out there that are right on board with all this too. Your Mitch McConnells and so on. But at the end of the day, what he said 26 years ago was once popular in the Democrat Party, or at least they pretended that it was. The Cuban people have been watching as other countries are being freed and emancipated from their oppressive governments. The Cuban people, which we'll talk about in a moment, are fed up.
He's a murderer, he's a killer, he's a bad guy in every respect. Castro's jails are full of dissidents, as you know very well. His graveyards are full of patriots, and his government is full of thugs. And it's inconceivable to me when I see the weak stance taken by our current administration, especially with the spirit in this room, because the spirit of the Cuban people is beyond any spirit that I've seen by any people, and I've been watching it for a long time. And we can't allow him to get away with this program of coming to this country, hiring our best consultants, hiring our best lobbyists, and all of a sudden, senators and various other people miraculously are on the side of Fidel Castro. And now the battle is almost getting tougher, and it should be a battle that would be won or almost won by now. The point is that things can turn around, and they can turn around very rapidly. I believe that you will have victory. I believe you'll have victory sooner rather than later. And you will win. You are going to win. And I'm going to be down here and I'm going to watch you win. I don't know what capacity I'll be. I'll either be the greatest developer in the country or the greatest president that you've had in a long time. I'm not sure. This trip has been very unusual. I've learned a tremendous amount. Jorge has taken me to I have met more Cubans than I knew existed here. And they are great people. And now I'm friends, and I'm going to be here whenever you need me. If I could meet Castro right now, I'd have personally 2 words for him. Adios, amigo. We'll see you very soon. Thank you very much. Terrific people. Thank you.
And there you have it. So I did it again, y'all. I keep doing it. I keep forgetting. So there you have it. I mean, this man, you know, these people who think that Trump is so dumb and doesn't think anything through, and that everything's all reactionary, and he's taco and all that. These lame, just frankly gay arguments that they put out against Trump. This man has been more consistent than any politician that I've ever seen in office on every topic that he's ever talked about. It just blows my mind that people are this blind to who this man actually is and fall for the propaganda. So this happened on March 13th. Now, I don't remember if this is in English or not, but this is coming from somebody that is Cuban, probably in America right now. A historic moment when dictator of Cuba, Miguel Diaz-Canel, announces on national broadcast that they have been given into the pressure and are officially in negotiations with the United States. The Cuban regime completely surrendered on the brink of death.
Que en correspondencia.
In English. So that's what he says here. It's a minute and 42 of him not speaking English. So we won't play that. But that did happen, and that is where we're at. You see, when we did Venezuela, Not only did it allow for another market to open up for oil when we do Iran, or did Iran, it has put Cuba in such a tight spot with resources that now they have to come to the table to negotiate. This guy plays chess like you wouldn't believe when everybody else is playing checkers. Liberals refuse to believe it because it screws with their worldview at the end of the day. These are the same liberals that always claim that oppressed people need to be helped and saved, and they clutch their pearls and stuff until somebody actually steps up and actually does it the right way. Not forever wars, not any of this nonsense. He swooped in and took out the El Presidente of Venezuela, and now he's in prison. They swooped in to Cuba, probably with the help of Tucker Carlson, by the way. That might be a whole nother video. Feeding bum information they were feeding Tucker Carlson as he was talking to Iranians, to attack just one day. Almost all the top leadership was wiped out in one swoop. And the Cuban people know this, despite being pretty controlled and regulated with the internet and the television and so on. The Cuban people know this. This was on March 12th. Let's take a listen to this. Eric Doherty, breaking. President Trump just got Ecuador to cut off Cuba big time. The FBI has now opened its first office in Ecuador after the country kicked Cuban officials out of the country. I did a video on this, live, and they were literally burning documents as they fled. Trump and Kash Patel's FBI will now use the office to go after cartels and drug trafficking, right in the heart of the beast. This is huge. This is our hemisphere. The communist influences are being obliterated, and the cartels are on notice. That's why you see these woke right-wing, I would have been doing air quotes if I wasn't setting up this video, but these woke right-wing podcasters pretending to be MAGA once that now have flipped because they're seeing the downfall of what they actually support versus what they pretended to support all along. Take a listen to this.
De la misma manera, invitamos a la señora María José Pinto, vicepresidenta de la República.
Hoy, la cooperación en seguridad entre los Estados Unidos y el Ecuador alcanza un hito muy importante. La firma de memorando de entendimiento que formaliza la presencia permanente del FBI por primera vez en este país y establece una nueva unidad vetada entre el FBI y la Policía Nacional.
So there you have it. You heard it straight from the camel's mouth. You can't argue with it. It's not fake news. I mean, just on March 5th, Trump predicted this. Listen, take a listen to this.
Very badly. They're failing. Cuba right now is, to put it mildly, a failing nation. And I've been hearing about Cuba. I said before, since I'm a little boy, I've been hearing about Cuba, and everybody wanted to change. And I can see that happening. Marco Rubio is dealing on it, and at a very high level. And, you know, they have no money, they have no oil, they have no food. And it's really right now a nation in deep trouble, and they want our help.
There you have it. And he's 100% correct. And Marco Rubio here deserves a lot of credit. This guy's been working his butt off almost as hard as Trump, if not just as hard as Trump, on all kinds of global issues. Unlike Hillary Clinton with the red button and the Russians, we're doing a reset. Let's make some money together. And what she really meant was her and a bunch of other politicians doing shady deals with Russia. But that's a whole nother show, too. So after all this transpired, March 14th, we started getting these videos rolling in from Cuba. And that says, breaking, the people of Cuba have just set fire to the Communist Party's headquarters in the eastern town of Moron, or Morone. I'd say Moron, because why wouldn't the communist headquarters be in an area called Moron? Now, mind you, the current Democrat Party wants communism. Their base wants communism. They argue for communism, which tells you everything you need to know about how midterms should go. As our president is freeing people from communism, these people are marching in the streets with pre-printed hands-off signs from the Socialists of America and all these other communist groups. We need to spread information like this to show what Trump is actually doing versus what your fake mainstream media is doing versus what your BS podcasters are doing, and so on. These controlled operators, these shills who put their wallet before the country. This is the type of thing that Trump is doing. These people saw what's happening in these countries that Trump's freeing, and they said, you know what, now's our time. Trump's got our back. He's assured us that he's got our back. We're going to act. All while our awesome government that we currently have is working with the Cuban officials to surrender, basically, and give the country back to the people so they can be free again. Democrats hate this. They're telling you who they are. You're just not listening. So, to illustrate this and end the show, this is CUNY, or CUNY. If you're unaware of what CUNY is, it stands for the City University of New York, where a lot of Cubans live. Let's listen to their take on what's happening in Cuba right now. This should wake some people up.
The U.S. expectation was that Cuba would crumble into submission at this devastating sense of power from the U.S. Instead, they rose up in rage with well-planned weapons, and they're low-tech weapons. Every drone Iran fires in self-defense is also a defense of Cuba immediately.
The U.S. government is the number one terrorist in the world. Do you know that?
The U.S. empire is a failed state for the working people. They fail in the working people. Both parties are failing the working people. And that's what we have to organize. Trade unions, the barrios, police.
You notice they bring up unions a lot. I've said many times on the show, and you can verify this by a simple search on the internet rather than arguing. Unions were started by not only gangsters, mafia, but also communists and socialists. I understand that people, that blue-collar workers, they just love their unions. But what unions do is ensure that you will have illegal labor by driving up the average, I get it. You want more money for the work you do. Who doesn't, right? But they intentionally do things, capping people off at the knee that run businesses and stuff for as long as they can to get $20 an hour for pretty much jobs across the board, let's say, be it this or that or the other in this particular factory, plant, whatever, restaurant chain. And it makes it so that these companies have to figure out how to do that without screwing up quality and production and so on, without having to cut costs for the customer. They have to now pay these people more. And if they don't agree, these unions do the socialist communist thing and seize the means of production and have their employees leave. Now, another thing that if you have ever worked in a union-run business, they call you names if you're not in the union, right? They intimidate you. Other workers will intimidate you in some of these places, call you names, and so on for not joining the union. This is intentional. This is what you need to know about unions, and that's why you always hear, Trump got backed by quite a few unions, which is fine. It helped him, I'm sure. People are not aware of what I'm telling you about unions right now, okay? They're like, oh, they're there for me. Look into how much money they make for them. But anyway, take a listen.
Political organization, whatever. It's the duty of everybody here.
The 1958 Cuban Revolution smashed that old order, and for the empire, this act of self-determination was unforgivable. The empire claims it is Cuba that is the threat, but let us be clear, we all know here that Cuba is not the threat, and the threat is U.S. empire itself.
But Washington is not strong. It is desperate. It is flailing. This is the end of the empire. And we must speed up that end. In every way possible. As Che Guevara said, create 1, 2, 3 Vietnams.
Iran is fighting for everyone who believes in liberation, in internationalism, in resistance.
This is insane.
And so everyone here who is for Palestine, for Venezuela, for Nicaragua, and all of us here today for Cuba, we're going to end with President Diaz-Canel, who reminded us today full solidarity with Iran under attack. Venceremos.
Is that not absolutely insane? These people live in a world of delusion where they don't care that the people that live in these countries want to be free. People that have been cast out of these countries want to be able to go home and visit family, maybe go back home and open a business. These people are insane, and this is who you think is going to win in the midterms? The only way they win in the midterms is if you don't show up like you did in 2024. This is insane. This is what you can expect when these people take back over. Look what happened in New York when people didn't show up. All right, guys, that's what I got for you today. That is the Democrat Party. I hope you all have a great rest of your night. I'll talk to you later.